Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to thank Rachel for doing the children's story. It was a little beyond what I could plan this week, so thank you. And the harp. I just love the harp, so thank you for that. It was very soothing and something that I really appreciate this morning. Oh, thank you for having me back. It's been a while, but that's fine because I can't always get out from November to February. So just thankful I could be here last Sunday to hear Jennifer and this Sunday again. So thank you. And this is the third Sunday in Lent. I don't know how this church honors Lent. Some Church of the Brethren don't. But through my years of being outside of the Church of the Brethren, I've learned a good bit about Lent, and gave up some things, did some extra things, which I prefer to do during Lent. Actually, is take that time to give instead of give up something. But Lent is not just a time of giving up something we have a yearning for. It's more than that, which is why I chose to give instead of give up. Sometimes, though, people give up things like sweets or chocolate or screen time, a little sacrifice. But Lent is really a time of deep self-examination. It's a time of seeking. It's a time of pruning out the things in our lives that keep us from a deeper spiritual walk. Lent is a time to recognize a deep thirst and to search for what will quench that thirst. Just as an aside here, because it's something that I feel I need to share personally, I had an incident this week that really upset me. I became very angry at a person, which I seldom do. And I've stated here before, when something irritates us about another person, we really need to look at ourselves and why that irritates us. So that was kind of my struggle this week, Rachel, so thank you. I'm not sure what I would have brought to the children's story. But being Lent, it is that time for self-examination. I didn't thirst for that anger that I had. It came on me. And then I had to deal with it and really search deeply for what was I thirsting? What was I looking for? What was the reason I was so angry at this person? Well, part of it was an intent that I had was taken the wrong way. Anyway, I sent a letter of apology. It's in God's hands. So we'll go on with the sermon now that I've done my little confession for Lent. But our Old Testament readings this morning, they spoke of thirsting, not just for water, but for God. And I wonder how deep our thirst for God is. Is it just I think I'll swallow some water now. I only had 6 cups today. Is our thirst deeper than that for God? Or, I went to church today. I'm set for the week. My thirst was filled. Maybe it's more though. Maybe it's like we've been in the desert for 40 days. Perhaps life has not been so easy lately. Maybe we're faced with some difficult decisions or illness or grief. We keep searching for answers and direction. The heat and wandering have soaked the water right out of us. We're dry, and we spend our time looking for anything that will relieve that thirst. For what do we thirst? And really, how thirsty are we? Our Isaiah reading is an invitation to relieve our thirst. Come to the water. It's free. Why spend your time on what does not satisfy? But we do. We spend lots of time on things that do not really satisfy. We keep looking for ways and things to satisfy that thirst, but none of them work for long. That new dress, that new computer, that new instrument, that new friend, that new house, that new job. We rush out to buy something new or begin a new project, and it satisfies for a short time. And then that satisfaction's gone. It may relieve our thirst for a short time, but that's just it. It's a short time. It's not a lasting satisfaction. I'm going to jump back to the psalmist again, because for those who accepted the invitation, they were satisfied and realized where their real help came from. Not only was their thirst relieved, but they were fed as well, and they were full and thankful. But now we look at our New Testament reading. How does that tree fit into coming to the water? Well, Rachel did a good job. How does that tree fit into the coming to the water and relieving our thirsting? How do a landowner, a gardener, and a fig tree fit into all that? Some biblical scholars see God as the landowner. God is telling Israel, the fig tree, that they're dying. They're not producing fruit. They're almost dead. The scholars feel that the gardener is Jesus. Jesus is offering to poke around the ground, add some manure, that stuff that's smelly sometimes. I know the farmer spreads it in the field right by my house. It lingers, but manure's good. It's that good stuff that helps us grow. Sometimes life's messy, and that's what helps us grow. And Jesus provides the water because Jesus wants to have it come back to life. But I'm not going to focus on Israel today. I want us to focus on us here, right now. Where and how do we fit into this scripture today? I'm going to read the scripture again. During this reading, I want you to listen for whom you relate as a congregation. Is this congregation the landowner? Are you the gardener? Are you the tree? Are you the landowner concerned with outcome and production? Are you the gardener concerned with nurturing? Or again, are you the tree that's dying? Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit on it and found none. So he said to the gardener, "See here, for 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree, and still I find none. Cut it down. Why should it be wasting the soil?" He replied, "Sir, let it alone for 1 more year, until I dig around it and put manure on it. If it bears fruit next year, well and good. But if not, you can cut it down." I'm not going to ask you how you saw the congregation. You can talk about that amongst yourselves. But as you reflected on which of the three the congregation resembles now, think about the thirst of this congregation. If you saw the congregation as the owner, for what does the owner thirst? New facilities? More members? For things to be the same with no change at all? Maybe the owner really thirsts for a spiritual deepening for the congregation so that it will bear fruit. If you saw the congregation as the gardener, for what does the gardener thirst? An ability to feed the members? An end to conflicts of who's right and wrong? More tools with which to work? More of that smelly fertilizer? If you saw the congregation as the tree, for what does the tree thirst? Pruning, deeper spiritual teaching, or a thirst for a more loving spirit? I'm going to read the scripture again, but this time I want you to hear it as an individual. Are you the owner, the gardener, or the tree? And for what do you personally thirst? Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit on it and found none. So he said to the gardener, "See here, for 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree, and still I find none. Cut it down. Why should it be wasting the soil?" He replied, "Sir, let it alone for 1 more year, until I dig around it and put the manure on it. If it bears fruit next year, well and good. But if not, then you can cut it down." Again, I'm not going to ask you to share your personal things. That is something for you to sit with this week during your quiet times. But whether for the congregation or us personally, whether the owner or gardener or tree, we all thirst for something. That something will not be satisfied until we get to the root of the problem. Ourselves, our desires, our passions, our egos. We stand in the way of growth. We stand in the way of nurturing. And we allow others to die, and ourselves. The filling and healing and production of fruit come from the invitation. An invitation to something more, something deeper. Do we thirst for it? Or are we satisfied with things the way they are? Oh my God, you are my God. I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. Are we able to say this and mean it? Everyone who thirsts, come. You who have nothing left in you, come. Can we accept the invitation to drink of this spiritual water? Leave all your doubts and worries and hopes and desires to be right and have power. These things do not quench thirst. Come, God has the means to quench that thirst. Come and drink. It's free. And you will produce fruit.